broadcast and recorded. For clarity, only members who are present in the room are able to vote. Any member joining the meeting remotely is able to participate in the debate, but they are not able to vote. First of all, may I ask the clerk if there are any apologies?
No, none received, Chair.
Thank you. I can see the members of the committee who are in attendance here, and their names will be recorded in the minutes. Please can the clerk confirm if any members are joining remotely, and if those members could confirm their attendance when the clerk calls your name.
Thank you. Councillor Bandari.
Present.
Councillor Dudley.
Present.
Councillor Porter.
Present.
Councillor Hayden.
Present.
And Councillor Angel. Councillor Angel?
Present.
Thank you. That's everyone joining remotely, Chair.
Thank you. The next item are declarations of interest, and the full text of the declaration is set out in the agenda. If any member has a disclosable pecuniary interest or an affected interest to declare, please indicate in the meeting's chat, and I will come to you in turn. I can see no declarations of interest, but may I remind everyone that you can make a declaration at any time should an item occur on the agenda at a later point. Anyone declaring a disclosable pecuniary interest will need to leave the meeting when we get to the relevant item. Item 3 on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the last meeting held on the 14th of December as a correct record. I can move those minutes, Mayor. Councillor Hayden, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I was at the meeting online and have been omitted from the minutes as being present.
We will have that corrected.
Thank you.
Subject to that correction, can I move the minutes of the meeting of the 14th of December?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you. All in favour? Thank you. Item 4 are urgent items of business. Can I ask Hannah if there are any items of business?
No, none notified.
Thank you. Item 5 is an update of the local joint committee meeting, which was held this afternoon. That meeting discussed items 6 and 7 on the agenda, and there were no matters raised at that point, and the unions acknowledged the fact that they had an input into the substance misuse policy statement, and thanked us for that consideration.
We did look at item 8. 7 and 8.
No, I beg your pardon, 7 and 8. Yes, not 6 and 7, 7 and 8. Thank you. Item 6 are the minutes of the subgroup, and the committee is asked to note the minutes of the local joint committee held on the 14th of December, and they are duly noted. Item 7 is our old friend, the annual update of the council's pay statement, and I'll hand over to our Assistant Director, Paul Young, to introduce this to us again.
Thank you, Chair. The annual update of the Council's pay statement, I think the committee will recognise this particular statement as this is the third time you would have seen such a statement in the period of just over a year. The reasons for that are indicated at paragraph 5.2 in that this statement is actually for the 2023-24 financial year. Previous assessments of this have actually gone forward at times either during the current financial year or right at the very end. So we've just actually to get this back into a sequence which the annual pay statement can actually be in place prior to the financial year commencing. So hopefully this will be the last time. You won't see one of these again for another year or so. So when we're looking at the next financial year. Just as an overview for the committee, there are a number of pages to the document, which most of them are sort of statutory recording and what we have to publish on our website. There are no substantive changes to the pay statement aside from just the update to the senior salaries shown on the report on page 23. I'm happy to take any questions, Chair.
Thank you, Paul. Can I ask members if they have any questions? I can see no hands up. So I'm assuming that there are no questions. Accordingly, I formally propose the motion at paragraph 2.1 on page 9 of the agenda pack that the Employment Committee, can I just change those words so that the Employment Committee, having reviewed, agree the pay statement for 23-24. I think that probably makes a little better reading. May I have a seconder for that, please? That agreed? Thank you. That is agreed. Item 8 on the agenda is the review of the substance abuse policy. And that's over to you again, please, Paul.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the committee will be aware that we're undertaking a review of a number of the HR policies at the moment and bringing them through to committee for adoption. This is the substance misuse policy. We have gone through the normal arrangements of consultation with trade unions and across a number of areas of our workforce to consult whether updates are required. And the updates to this particular policy are actually quite minimal. They are shown at paragraph 5.3 on the cover report. And the main aspects of that are just actually adding some additional guidance for managers if an employee discloses substance misuse problems. And what I would just re-emphasise of that is where the policy itself is actually in place to make sure we can actually support staff if people are actually experiencing any issues to do with substance misuse. And clearly, there may well be situations where we need to adopt and to imply different procedures, such as disciplinary, ill health, capability procedures, etc. But the policy here is really there to go and look at a supportive measure to support our workforce should they experience any of these problems. But I think it's actually really quite clear in terms of ensuring that the council doesn't come into disrepute for any reason, and where there are issues that actually impacts on service provision and impact on our customers. The other aspect of the update of the report at 5.3 is addition of a section which is identifying the support which is available for employees, and that is just highlighted a little bit stronger in this particular update. Other than that, there are no other significant changes to this policy which we're bringing you for consideration of adoption, please. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Paul. Are there any questions from members? Councillor Dudley.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And I read that policy and the changes to the policy that I think I could see. Just one question, if I may, Chair. With regards to substance abuse, whether it is alcohol, drugs, or any other substance, is there a policy in there if the employee that is let's say, suspected of being a victim of substance abuse is one of our car users. Is there something that we do in that respect?
Yes, indeed. It's covered in there where we talk about our health and safety and health and welfare responsibilities. So if there are situations where someone is part of their duties out on the road driving, then we will have requirements on there to actually undertake our health and safety responsibilities to make sure that they're not driving as far as their work duties are concerned. And similarly, if some individual turns up or actually appears in the workplace as an attendant in the workplace, and there is a thought or concern that they've been under some sort of substance misuse or alcohol over the alcohol limits, then there is the requirements on here for the managers to take responsibility to ensure that individual doesn't drive home either.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Colin. Are there any further questions? I can see none. Accordingly, I will then move the recommendation at paragraph 2.1 on page 41 with the same alteration that I suggested before, that the Employment Committee, having reviewed the substance abuse policy, agree the revised policy.
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you. Is that agreed? That is agreed. That concludes the agenda for this evening. But before I formally close the meeting, this is the last Employment Committee that will occur, emergencies accepted, I suppose, until after the local elections in May. I'd therefore like to take this opportunity to thank all members of the committee, and particularly my Vice Chairman, Councillor Allen, for the support and help that they've given us all during the course of the last 4 years. I'd also like to express my appreciation to the Assistant Director, Paul Young, and his team, many of whom, of course, we have not been fortunate enough to meet, for all the work that they have done, both on behalf of the Council generally and equally importantly, the people who work for us and provide the services that the public rely on. I suppose I ought to conclude by thanking also Stuart McKellar, who's the Director in charge of this function, and of course Hannah, who's helped us all along the way. And finally, can I thank members of the public who've been listening, and I hope that what you've seen has been of some help in understanding how the Council, its members and officers work. With that, I'll say good evening and thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening to you.